What's going on, everybody? Today, as always, I want to talk to you guys. And today, what I want to talk to you guys about is, are you critiquing or are you projecting? And the reason why I want to talk about this is because today, it's rare that I ever block somebody for a Instagram comment. It's very, very rare, particularly if they're criticizing me or saying bad things about me. However, today I decided to block somebody who actually followed my account. And the reason why I blocked this person was because today I made a post. I was at the gym. And while I was at the gym, I was trying to find a place to record where there wasn't too many people. And the gym was kind of packed. So I asked one of my friends, Martha, who was working out in the area, do you mind if I record with you in the background? And she said, yeah, sure, no problem. And so I set the camera up, I hit record, and you can see her in the background. If you look down in my post, you'll see her. She's doing a side abduction. She's like doing these things for her hips, and she's doing a little bit of squats. And I made the video and I posted it. A couple of hours goes by. As I posted, I saw a comment that was hidden by Instagram. And Instagram has an option of just hiding comments, particularly if they're not very nice. And this comment that this woman left was like, oh, look at the woman in the background. She's like an attention whore seeking camera attention. She knows the camera was there. Why she has to do her squats in the background, yada, yada, yada. And for me, it was really, really fascinating because I was like, why would you write that? So I decided to click on the woman's profile page, and she actually follows me. And I saw that she was like a ultra marathon runner. And like I said, I don't mind people criticizing me. It's very, very rare that I will block somebody unless they're saying something so outrageous that it's distracting people from the message that I'm trying to present. But when I saw that this woman was an ultra marathon runner and she was calling my friend Martha, who I asked permission if I could record with her in the background. Because first of all, with content creators, people that create content, I think it's really, really rude if you just record somebody without their permission. And first of all, for the woman that said that, saying that my friend Martha is an attention whore, she knows the camera was there. You see her looking at the camera, which Martha doesn't even look at the camera. For the woman, don't you think it's a little rude for me to just make a decision to take my camera out? Like, first of all, you don't know if I know that woman. Two, let's say Martha was a stranger. Isn't it kind of like annoying for somebody to just take out their phone and start recording in a public place, in a gym, where a lot of times recording isn't even allowed? Like, gyms hate when people come to the gym with their cameras and they have a bunch of camera stands. Now, it's pretty common now, but it is kind of annoying to people that go to the gym that you have content creators recording with them in the background. So for me, if anybody ever, even if I'm outdoors, even here, I'm just walking by, if somebody was to say, hey, I appreciate it if you don't put that up because I was in the video, I would comply, because I think it's kind of rude for somebody to be in your recording. But this woman didn't even think of that. She just thought that my friend Martha, first of all, she didn't even know if I knew Martha. She thought my friend Martha was just some attention whore just doing squats in the background. As opposed to asking a question like, first of all, do you know the lady? Two, it's kind of rude of me to record with somebody in the background. But people don't think like that. But then I saw the woman's page and I realized, oh, she actually posts a lot. She's also an ultra marathon runner. She's into fitness. My friend Martha's more into weightlifting. And I know, like, with runners and weightlifters, they tend to have like funny beefs because they're different. Like, they critique each other, they criticize each other. But my original question is like, are you critiquing somebody or are you projecting? Because the thing is, she called my friend Martha And it's not even that it was my friend. It's just a woman in the background, unintentional. Why? Because more than likely, and I don't know this woman, but I saw her account, and she posts quite frequently, and I'm assuming she's trying to develop a following herself. I'm assuming that maybe, and I'm just saying maybe, I don't know the woman, she might be an intentional whore. So my initial question, are you critiquing or are you projecting? And I love this because I find that within myself that when I judge somebody, and you may be thinking I'm trying to judge somebody now, and I'm not. I'm just trying to teach here. So I'm using this as a teaching lesson for yourself because more than likely, if you follow the page, you're on a healing journey, right? So in myself, I find when I judge somebody, particularly very, very harshly, 99% of the time, I could find that thing that I'm judging them within me. So I'll give you an example. From 2022 to 2024, I used to be a person that used to get upset with my girlfriend because I felt sometimes that she would be on her phone too much. And I would actually lecture her. Like, why are you on your phone so much? You're talking about being tired, you're talking about being drained. And I would give her this long lecture and even sometimes try to be a little controlling to where I'll try to get her off her phone. But then guess what happens 5 or 6 hours later? Guess what I'm doing 5 or 6 hours later? I find myself doom scrolling on my phone. And before I know it, I'm on my phone for 90 minutes just looking at Instagram videos, YouTube shorts, whatever it is. And I'm like, holy crap. I was just criticizing my girlfriend not too long ago to where the point where I was borderline trying to control her, trying to get her off the phone. And here I'm doing the exact same thing. I also found from when I was a personal trainer, I remember one time I had this aha moment as a personal trainer. I was complaining about this client that I had to another client. And I'm complaining about this client to another client. And then the following week, I'm complaining to the other client about the client that I was complaining about before. So it was like I was complaining about client A to client B, and then the next week I'm complaining about client B to client A. And then I realized, oh, the only common denominator here is me. I'm projecting. And then what I found is the things that I was complaining about is things that I do as well. So again, are you critiquing or are you projecting? And I'm very, very fascinated because today I pay attention a lot. And I pay particular attention to people that criticize people in politics. To me, Donald Trump, the character of Donald Trump, is a very, very fascinating character. Ever since I seen him get elected back in 2016. And I live in New York, which is a Democrat state, but I do live in Staten Island, which is more of a Republican borough. So I get to see both sides. I get to hang out with both sides. I get to see what the other side, because right now we're like at political war. It's like I remember people can't hang out with each other. Families don't get together on Thanksgiving because they voted differently, which is very, very fascinating. But I remember Donald Trump, right? And I found, this is just what I found from working. I've worked with over 200 in-person clients. I speak to a lot of people. What I found is the person that really, really hates Donald Trump. The person that when they see him on the television and it brings up this, like they can't even stand to look at him. I get not liking him, but it like boils their blood. What I found, and you may disagree with me, because this might be you. What I found is the people that criticize Donald Trump the most, they're not actually criticizing him, they're projecting. Because what they think he is what they actually are. I say that again. What they think he is, they actually are. I remember I had a client, he was a professor. He really, really hated Donald Trump. Every time he popped up on the news, his skin would boil, all of this stuff. But I remember as I got to know him, he was telling me how he handles his class because he was saying Trump was a dictator, this and that. And I was like, oh, okay. Me, and then me, I don't really pay attention too much because it is what it is. I just, not something I'm interested in. I remember he was telling me how he runs his class to the point where he worked for a college in the city, and he was telling me that when his students go to the bathroom, they have to ask him. He's one of the only professors that do that. He sets the law. He lays down. Otherwise, these students are gonna walk all over him. And I said, huh. And in my head, I remember thinking that's kind of dictator-like, is it not? The fact that other professors aren't doing it, but you're doing it, and you want to control your class to such a degree. So I remember where he actually got like some death threats towards the end of the semester. So what I found is people that really, really can't stand somebody, you're more than likely just projecting. Pay attention to this. I give you another example. Not too long ago, you remember there was a bunch of files that came out? Bunch of files that came out, and people were upset, very, very upset. And I'm about to go to a very, very, very dark place. But people got very, very upset. I know there's one person that I follow. They also follow me. I haven't seen him in years. And I know this person probably doesn't watch my stuff. So this is the only way I'm bringing it up. And if he sees it, oh well. But I haven't seen him in years. But this person I used to, he's six-figure earner, has a nice little degree, works in a certain field. This person, I remember when those files came out, the amount of criticizing he was doing about we need to arrest these people, get on these people, which I agree, by the way, completely agree. He said this is a corruption of power, everything you could think of. But he was just going in because I kept seeing his stories and I kept seeing like the things he was posting. I was like, Jesus, like, do you have a life? Like, is that all you're doing is looking into this stuff? And he's like this guy who has a degree. He's a little, I remember from what I remember, a little bit, snooty. But I do remember going out with him one time, and we were at a Chipotle, and I remember him literally badgering the person who was making the Chipotle, who was putting the stuff, the lettuce and everything on his little whatever it was, a burrito, rice, and he was just getting really, really annoyed to the point where he's like, literally, like, just being an asshole. And I'm like, dude, what's your problem? He's like, people just don't know how to do their jobs right. And in that moment, I realized he has power. He has a little bit of power right there. He has a little bit of power, and he's misusing it because he knows the Chipotle worker can't say anything because the Chipotle worker would lose his job. It's like people that scream at people on customer service lines. Like they have a little bit of power in that moment that they feel like they could overstep it. But I remember this guy these past few months when those files came out. He's just going on and on and on about them. And I realized in that moment, he's projecting because this dude is not the nicest individual. And if he was to have the type of power that these people had, remember, these people are very, very powerful people that were in these files. They abused their power. However, he's doing the exact same thing. The guy I know, he's doing the exact same thing to the Chipotle worker. Be mindful of the people you hang out with. If you see them mistreating a waitress, if you see them mistreating a bartender, you see them mistreating the Uber driver, these people would have been on that list in those files if they would have had the power, if they would have been in that position. Now, you might not agree with me, but the chances are, if you abuse somebody because you had a chance, if you became a manager, let's say you was just like a regular employee, and all of a sudden you became a manager. We all see them. That you become a person with power. I've seen it when I was in the military. People are just regular people, and then all of a sudden they get a little bit of power, they get a little bit of authority, and they completely switch up. And they just start abusing their power. And it's wild to watch. But these are the same people that will criticize the people on those files, which, by the way, they should be criticized. You should be able to say something. However, when you have such a charge within you to where you're really going out of your way, you make this your life, you're projecting. More than likely, you would have done the same thing. So going back, for you, the viewer, the watcher, what can you get out of this? You got to realize when you're projecting. Realize when you get disturbed by somebody else. Really, really bothered. When you find somebody annoying. More than likely, the reason why you're getting annoyed is because unconsciously, you see that within yourself. And that's the area that you actually have to work on. Now, how do you work on this? Because one of the things I say, what bothers you is what actually heals you. What disturbs you is what you actually got to work on. What triggers you is what you actually have to feel and learn to let go. You just got to realize when it happens. How do you work on it? When somebody bothers you, when somebody annoys you, as opposed to criticizing them, realize there's a good chance that you're criticizing yourself, and turn the mirror back on you. So I could probably even do that with the woman that criticized my friend Martha. I probably do that later. Like, why did I block her? The main reason why I blocked her is I don't want my friend Martha to feel some type of way. And mind you, Martha, she got very, very tough skin, but I didn't like the fact that that lady did that. Because first of all, you don't know if I know her. Two, I'm actually the rude one. If I don't know her, it's kind of rude for me to just be recording with somebody in the background. But the idea is I'll probably reflect on this, on why did I block her. And I feel like the main reason was I don't want to upset my friend. So it could be the people pleaser in me. Even though I know Martha's probably not going to care, I don't want my friend Martha to see that. For somebody to call her attention whore. But I realized when I went to that woman's profile and I saw that she posts a lot. She posts quite frequently. It looked like, to me, and the pictures were very, very, shall I say, provocative. Very provocative. She's projecting onto my friend Martha. And you need to do the same thing. You need to figure out whether or not you're doing the same thing. You need to figure out, whenever I get annoyed, what part of myself am I getting annoyed with? I'm not saying never be bothered, but if it's a huge charge, like I see with a lot of people that hate Donald Trump, that really hate him. I mean, there's a thing like not liking him and being like, I really wish he wasn't the president. But then there's also like, I wish he was. Like every time I see him, it's just like, There's a good chance what you're seeing in Donald Trump, you see it in yourself. And people don't want to hear this. So please, work on this stuff. And I'll do the same thing. I'm probably going to see. I wasn't too annoyed. I wasn't too bothered when I saw the woman's comment. But it's not nice. It's not pleasant. And again, I don't mind when people criticize me, as long as it's not taking away from the message. Because I see sometimes people will go into the comments and defend me, which is very, very nice. And I'm just doing my best to be a good teacher here, to present you guys a way you could actually heal and find out the things that annoy you, find out what bothers you, because what bothers you actually heals you. And work on this stuff, work on these disturbances, work on these triggers. Learn to allow them to be, sit with them. That way, in time, you'll let them go. So I'll end right there. Hopefully that made sense. I was a little all over the place. If it did, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, leave some feedback. Peace.